Rangers have traded Pavel Buchnevich to the St. Louis Blues for Sammy Blais and a second-round pick in 2022. Not happy about it. Not happy about it at all. So it feels like the Rangers are addressing a need, which is a lack of, I guess, an identity within the bottom six, right? So, and that would be a correct assessment to want to help that out. But this trade is, I don't know how there's any way that you can really justify it. Now, I'll give, I guess, the pros first. This does help in terms of cap space. Pavel Buchnevich was a restricted free agent, and they were going to have to pay him. I don't think anything exorbitant, but I feel like this was going to be maybe a $5 to $6 million per year. I guess more towards $6, I suppose. And I think that it would honestly be justifiable for him to be paid that. You were going to have to, the Buchnevich contract was going to have to be sizable. So now you don't have to pay him, which is that. But there's two things that I don't like about this. A, trading the player itself. I wanted to keep Pavel Buchnevich. I understand that, unfortunately, the byproduct of drafting Lafreniere, Kakko, obviously Panarin, you bring in who's amazing, is they are pretty deep on the wing. The problem that I have is, and I know it's not a one-for-one situation, but Chris Kreider, that contract extension for him in the 2020 season at the trade deadline was just not the right thing to do. It wasn't. And I understand at that time that they were playing well, and I think that's almost a detriment looking back on it, that they were playing well. He absolutely should have been traded, and he would have gotten a haul back, a haul that would have been better than this return. So it's trading Buchnevich, and if you wanted to do that, okay. But you don't even get a first-round pick back. You get a second-round pick from the Blues, which the Blues are a halfway decent club, and they bring in Buchnevich, so I can't imagine that it's going to be that high of a second-round pick. And look, Sammy Blais, it sounds like Blues fans like him. He won a cup in 2019, so now you have Goodrow with 2 cups and Blais with a cup. But Sammy Blais, is a bottom 6 player, right? He's a third or fourth line player. Maybe he plays in the same line with Goodrow. And maybe we'll look back on this and say that, you never know. Maybe this will pay off, but I think they're going too much the other direction. And I just don't think the return is good enough. You had to have been able to get more for Pavel Buchnevich than a second-round pick and Sammy Blais. I don't understand it. And who knows? We might like Blais. Blais' contract situation is, I believe, he's paid $1.5 million this year, and he will be a restricted free agent. So you'll have him under control in theory. A little bit longer. I guess he's a little bit younger than Buchnevich, but he puts up numbers that are nothing. It seemingly. It seems like he would max out in a full season as like a 30-point player. It seems like he puts up around 15 points in about 40 or so games. So, maybe he could put up 15 goals in a season, right? It's probably what he would max out as. And I think he's a penalty kill guy. It's another guy that you can add to the penalty kill. But Buchnevich and Zibanejad was an excellent PK duo. Now, Pavel Buchnevich going into this past season, that's one thing. That is one thing where I think he was an okay player, very inconsistent. But this season, he stepped up his game. I never would have thought that Pavel Buchnevich not only would be on the PK, but thriving in that role. So, look, I don't see any way how this is a positive. And for Chris Drury, so far, not really loving what I'm seeing. Again, Goodrow, in a nutshell, is a good acquisition. But there's no question that it was an overpay. I guess maybe that's just the part of doing business, but no doubt that was an overpay. And then here, could Sammy Blais be an important factor for this team in some way, shape, or form? Yes, he could. And is a second-round pick nothing? No. It's, of course, second-round pick is absolutely valuable. But I just think you could have gotten more for Buchnevich. And it's just a shame that Jeff Gorton extended Chris Kreider. Hey, that just was not a good contract. And you just wonder if that doesn't happen, maybe Buchnevich is back. Now, I understand Buchnevich is a right wing, Kreider is a left wing. So those things are not totally equal. But I am just not happy about this at all. But I guess before I really make major judgment, we need to see what else happens. There are gonna be more moves, free agency, trades. Like this is just the beginning. So I need to see how this roster looks, how the cap situation looks, how the draft capital looks when it's all said and done. But it initially, I just don't know how you can really be too thrilled about this. This is almost like a venting session, and I'm sure Ranger fans kind of feel the same way, where Buchnevich was kind of slowly becoming a fan favorite, and he was one of the longest tenured Rangers. Besides Kreider, it was really Zibanejad and Buchnevich that were. I mean, now that Brendan Smith is confirmed gone, the only players from that 17 playoff team that beat Montreal and lost to Ottawa that was on this last season's roster was Kreider, Zibanejad, Buchnevich, who had more of a bit role then, and Smith. So I just think that, when it comes to what this team is going to look like moving forward, it is tough to say. Chris Drury has definitely kept things close to the vest, and I think that this will be his team, and I'm sure Glenn Sather has his handprints all over it as well. I guess also of note is the fact that, and this was a formality, that Tony DeAngelo was officially bought out, which made sense. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, really not a big deal there. This was, basically, what is it now? 5 months, 6 months, basically in waiting. So that finally goes down, but we will see what they do next. The next episode will, unless something crazy happens, will likely be just the draft recap. So as I'm recording this, the Rangers have made their first round selection. We'll talk about what that selection is and what it means. And again, a sneak preview, definitely just continuing in that wanting to find grit and character and more of a north-south game than an east-west game. But we'll get into that soon. But again, Pavel Buchnevich, goodbye, good luck in St. Louis. He has been traded to the St. Louis Blues.